Welcome, adventurers and listeners, to a tale of mystery, courage, and ancient pacts. Journey with me to the warded kingdom of Eldoria, a realm teetering on the brink of chaos where the powerful Aegis, a magical barrier protecting its people, begins to falter. As the kingdom's fate hangs in the balance, a brave group embarks on a perilous quest to uncover the secret of this enigmatic shield. Through treacherous depths and whispered legends, they unravel truths long forgotten and face choices that will shape their world's future. Whether you are relaxing at home or on your daily commute, let this epic saga transport you to a land where each decision can alter the course of destiny. Sit back and allow treacherous choices to preserve or perish. Renewal and Ruin, the destiny of a kingdom. Part the shattered veil when protection falters. It was a morning like any other in the kingdom of Eldoria when the first signs of trouble were noticed. I had been tending to the fires of my forge, hammer ringing out a song of metal and flame when the trembling began. It was a subtle quiver at first, like the shudder of a giant taking a breath. The sky, once a brilliant canvas of azure, shimmered with an unnatural hue, and our beloved land held its breath. The Aegis, the ancient barrier that protected Eldoria, was failing. For centuries, it had stood as a silent guardian, its magic an unyielding shield against the world's chaos. Yet now, before us, it flickered like a dying ember. Panic brewed as myths of old resurfaced, tales of winged beasts and merciless armies reimagined in the minds of the masses. Being of a curious mind and never one for idle hands, I joined a growing throng of villagers making their way to the arcane tower. There, our kingdom's most learned scholars, robed in garments of midnight blue, gathered in urgent council. Their faces bore the weight of knowledge, and as whispers rippled through their circle, I picked up fragments of what they called the cracks. They spoke of disruptions in the Aegis, deemed impossible by all save the most probing minds. The high scholar Eldoria addressed us, her voice a resonant bell in the uneasy air. "People of Eldoria," she began, "the Aegis falters, but fear not, for we have uncovered a path to its restoration." Her proclamation brought a hush, an anticipatory hope threading through the crowd. I could feel it in my chest, a spark of possibility. Yet there was a shadow to Eldoria's words, a hesitation that couldn't escape a craftsperson's discerning gaze. "The power of the Aegis," she continued, "is intertwined with an ancient pact, one made by our forebears with beings that dwell beneath the stone of our world. It is to them we must turn to renew it." That night sleep eluded me as my mind wandered over the distant secrets buried beneath us. I weighed my options, pondering whether to stay in the safety of the known or forge a path toward the unknown. Ultimately, the hammering call of adventure resonated within me. How could I resist the allure of the subterranean mystery when it promised the salvation of all I held dear? Thus, our tale began as many doubt with a choice. A group was to be assembled, adventurers of varying skills and purpose, to seek out these forgotten beings. I found myself caught in their number, my resolve tempered like steel in a forge, ready to shadow paths yet untrodden and meet the gaze of those who dictated the fate of Eldoria. For the first time, the protection of our kingdom lay not in the strength of stone nor the bite of steel, but in a pact of shadows. With the first light of dawn came the realization that the ancient stories were not just echoes, but the very world in which we now must tread. And so, I set forth, with the echoes of cracking veils and whispered myths propelling each step into the forests that cloaked our kingdom's edge. Part Echoes of the Forgotten Depths. The road from the arcane tower to the realm beneath felt longer than any journey I had undertaken. Our party, an eclectic mix of talents and dispositions, moved with a sense of determined urgency. There was Sir Heron, a knight whose armor clinked with every step, more a statue than a man, seemingly carved from the very rock he stood on. Beside him strode Mira, an elven tracker whose keen senses promised she would lead us true, her feet silent against the earth as she moved. And Tyrion, a spellcaster whose eyes shimmered with the residual glow of magic, a flicker of the arcane wit cloaked beneath his solemn gaze. As for me, I had cast aside my apron for the sturdier garb of a traveler. My hands were no stranger to weight and toil, but the road demanded a different resolve, a willingness to embrace the uncertainty that lay ahead, rather than the warmth of a smithy's forge. As we journeyed, the tales of our forebears came to life, each step peeling back the layers of the world as we knew it. We traversed dense forests and rolling hills, the landscape changing as if echoing our quest's urgency. All the while, Mira's swift guidance kept us on a path older than the kingdom itself, now obscured by time and overgrown by nature's hand. With each mile, faint rumblings grew discernible beneath the earth, a deep thrum like a heartbeat resonating from the depths. It was both a guide and a warning, whispering of the ancient unknown beneath our feet. Around the evening campfires, Tyrion spoke of whispered legends from old scrolls he had studied, tales of the beings who made the Pact a civilization lost to memory, but bound intricately to our survival. Curiosities mingled with foreboding, yet one thing was certain. These weren't just legends to be recited solemnly, but truths that lived beneath the veneer of our history. We were drawing ever closer to the reality of the Pact, each day shedding ignorance for understanding. We reached the ancient chasm that served as the gateway to the depths below. Its mouth gaped wide, a jagged tear in the land that plunged into the earth's very bones. In the dim light, it appeared both ominous and inviting, as if the world itself beckoned us to enter. It is often said that in facing the unknown, a man must first overcome his own hesitations. So it was with us. I glanced at my companions, each a shadow flanked by dawn's early light, and saw Mirrored resolve an unspoken vow to journey beyond this point where surface met subterra. As we descended into the echoes of forgotten depths, the air grew cooler, tinged with a mineral scent both foreign and oddly familiar, the whispering passage of time etched into its essence. Every step echoed louder, cascading down unseen corridors, welcoming us into the womb of the world where darkness and silence conspired. Yet the emptiness did not feel hostile. Instead, it invited reflection, a clarity found in the depths where secrets lay hidden and whispered voices promised truth. As the last light from above dwindled into memory, we lit our torches and pressed on, determined to uncover what lay in waiting, a truth older than the kingdom itself, carrying the weight of hope or despair for all of Eldoria. Part The Scholar's Oath, Secrets Unearthed. The world underground was a tapestry woven from shadow and stone, an intricately carved tale that stretched out before us, inviting wonder and caution in equal measure. Our torches cast flickering halos of light, revealing walls etched with strange runes and symbols, their meanings layered deep in the sands of ancient time. These markings were a language of sorts, stories spun from stone, narrating the history of the beings we sought, the architects of the Pact woven with Eldoria's founding. As we moved forward, Sir Heron's gaze flickered over the runes, his mind clearly revisiting the countless tales told by elders around fading fires. Adventurers had ventured here long ago, it seemed, witnessed by the etchings of their journeys, a silent oath echoing in the hollow chambers. Mira's sharp eyes traced the paths carved into the floor, worn by passage and time, as she led us with the surety of an instinct honed beyond surface sight. The air hung heavy with possibility, an unspoken promise embedded within the rock surrounding us. It wasn't long before Tyrion's voice broke the silence, his wonder at the art of the inscriptions evident. "These words tell of the Ancient Ones," he murmured, fingers brushing lightly over a series of interlocking spirals, "the builders of the Aegis wardens of the below." The moniker resonated, breathing life and identity into the nameless shadows of our quest. It seemed every path, every rune, was a breadcrumb trail of history, pointing us towards the heart of the mystery, a mystery that our scholars back home had unearthed only in fragments through diligent toil. A nexus of tunnels loomed ahead, each inviting us deeper into the labyrinth. Our choice was a chorus of possibilities, but Mira, with uncanny intuition, selected a course that descended steadily toward the core, where tremors carried the heartbeat of the earth itself, pulsing with promises and warnings. In the dim glow, I could see our paths converging on a destination yet unknown, a tapestry of fates intertwining into a singular thread of destiny. The deeper we delved, the more I felt the heavy hand of history resting upon my shoulder, steering with silent insistence. Our journey eventually brought us to a vast chamber, its cavernous ceiling arching high above Yusei Cathedral of stone. It was there that we encountered the first of them, living echoes of an age eons past, who stepped forward with an elegance carved by time itself. Their features were both alien and familiar, an amalgam of historical reminiscence and uncanny future. Eyes that glimmered like gems trapped in time met ours, their depths unreadable yet not unkind. I realized with an exhaled breath that we stood in the presence of the wardens, the very architects of our protection and salvation, their forms, a living testament to the Pact's promise. Silence fell, a bridge of breaths holding the space betwixt stranger and friend. In this silent congregation of stone and spirit, myriad questions spun within my mind like untethered stars. We stood poised at the precipice of ancient revelation, the weight of the scholar's oath pressing against my consciousness. And within that escalating rhythm of truth and consequence stood the core of purpose or purpose, in renewing a bond older than any realm upon the surface. We had arrived, and now, in the presence of these wardens, we would seek the secrets they held, an act both necessary and inevitable for the world above. Eldoria awaited its fate hinged upon our discretion, with history's breath nodding encouragement as we took the next step toward renewed promise or chosen doom. Part, a journey beneath, steps into darkness. In that vast chamber embraced by the shadows of stone and time, we stood in reverent silence before the wardens, the enigmatic beings whose existence was etched into the very fabric of our survival. They were guardians of the Pact, the unseen artisans who had stitched our kingdom's salvation into the seams of reality. It was Tyrion who first found his voice, weaving words with a respect born from our scholars' teachings. "We seek the renewal of the Aegis," he began, his voice a careful thread in the tapestry of prehistory that stretched between us. The cracks in our protection grow, and with them, the fears of our people. The wardens regarded us with a patience that transcended centuries, eyes glimmering with the wisdom of those who have witnessed the ebb and flow of countless ages. When they responded, their voices were a sonorous harmony that resonated through the chamber, more felt than heard. "You tread the path of the covenant," spoke one, its words reverberating through the air like a music from the earth's depths. "To renew what was forged in the time of your ancestors is to accept the mantle of sacrifice." A palpable weight settled over us, the enormity of their words as clear as the shadows whispering against the stones. This pact and ancient bargain struck with those who dwelled beneath was not without its price, a cost woven into the lifeblood of the kingdom itself. There was a hesitance, a pause filled with the silent echoes of our hearts. Each of us understood the gravity, even Sir Harren, whose stalwart gaze never wavered. But the path of heroes and adventurers often forked towards choices that would shift the realm's destiny to preserve, to risk, to renew. Our scholars spoke of the Pact, I added, joining Tyrion in this uncharted dialogue. But the cost was shrouded, forgotten even among our most learned. The wardens acknowledged this with a subtle inclination of their heads, their gaze unified, contemplating the weight of our quest. "Time has forgotten much," another of them intoned, "yet memory is not erased. The power of the Aegis roots in the exchange of life's essence, our presence for the vitality of your kin." A ripple of shock coursed through us, a sacrificial undercurrent threading through their declaration. It was one thing to face darkness, another to confront a bargain that demanded life itself, a cycle as relentless as the tides. Mira's sharp breath cut through the silence as she grappled with the implications of such an exchange, a mortal trade between protection and kin. In the dim flicker of torchlight, the reality sank in, layering our determination with the soil of difficult choices. And yet, amid this revelation, there was no sense of hostility from the wardens, merely a somber understanding that the secrets of the earth bore heavy burdens. With this, the heart of our quest was laid bare, a burden of knowledge we would carry back to those who sought our guidance. The truth was not the conclusion, but a beginning, a new path that stretched before us as we ventured back into the deepening corridors, armed with the clarion call of what must be done and the shadowed weight of its price. As we retraced our steps from the heart of the earth, the echoes of the forgotten depths resonated within you. Each step a solemn promise, each shadowed turn a reminder of the choice that awaited the kingdom of Eldoria. Part, the Forgotten Ones, Faces of the Pact. Our journey back from the heart of the earth was a solemn procession, the knowledge we bore heavier than any weapon or armor. The wardens had imparted their truth, a truth inked into the stone of history, and as unyielding as the rocks through which we traveled. Each step upward through the ancient passages echoed with the resonant gravity of our newfound understanding. The atmosphere had shifted. Where once the journey had been cloaked in mystery and anticipation, now a clarity tempered with dread guided us. Our party moved with purpose, yet the palpable weight of our discovery made each step echo with an unspoken question. Who among us or our kin would shoulder the cost of this ancient pact? Emerging once more into the light of the surface world was an ethereal experience. The sun's warmth, a reminder of what we strove to protect. Yet the surface had changed in our absence. The shadows seemed longer, and the skies held a deeper hue, as if the kingdom held its breath in anticipation of what we had uncovered. The arcane tower loomed in the distance, a beacon of knowledge and our destination. As we approached, I could see High Scholar Eldoria waiting with a retinue of curious scholars, their expressions a blend of hope and trepidation. They would be the first to hear the echoes that we carried from beneath and the implications held within. With deliberation, Tyrion took the lead, his voice steady as he relayed the truths imparted by the Warden Show. The Aegis's power was anchored in a life-for-life exchange, demanding the vitality of our kin for the kingdom's protection. Gasps rippled through the scholarly assembly, accompanied by the murmurs of unfolding realization. Eldoria's gaze grew introspective, the weight of many realms resting upon her shoulders. The forgotten ones, she mused aloud, her voice a strand of history, reconnecting with the present. In attaining our salvation, we severed a piece of ourselves. Now it demands repayment, a revitalized binding to endure the ages. Our party stood in a tight formation, the bonds formed in the depths ringing stronger in the uncertainty we now faced. Sir Heron, whose stoic exterior masked a heart as unyielding as his armor, spoke with the clarity of a knight facing an inevitable battle. What must be done, he intoned, is a choice no ruler or scholar can make alone. It is the voice of the people, the heart of Eldoria, that must decide. Mira nodded, her eyes, which could pierce the deepest shadow, now focused on the challenges above. To protect the realm is instinct, but at what cost? She asked, forging words into questions that each citizen of Eldoria would hold close in the days to come. The truth of our discovery was not one to be sealed in the annals of the arcane tower, but a beacon to be kindled within every heart across our kingdom. And so the voices of Eldoria were summoned, to weigh the legacy inherited against the lives entwined in its salvation, to forge a path amid the shadowed faces of the Pact. As our tale returned to the kingdom, the stage was set for choices as ancient and formidable as the earth's bones. Through debate and deliberation, we moved forward towards a resolution one that would determine the new dawn of our kingdom, and whether the Pact of old would be renewed or reshaped for generations yet to come. Part: Demands of the Deep. A grim bargain. The kingdom buzzed with a thrum of anticipation, a quiet storm brewing through the halls of power and the humble streets alike. Word of our journey and the truth we had unearthed spread with the vigor of a wildfire, igniting debate and soul-searching conversations across Eldoria. In the grand chamber of Eldoria's council, leaders from across the land gathered, a constellation of voices representing the varied tapestry of our realm. As an adventurer who had walked the path of truth, I found myself among them, tasked with sharing the burden of revelation and lending my voice to the chorus of impending decisions. High Scholar Eldoria stood at the center, her presence a beacon of knowledge and tempered intent. Her opening words set the stage for the debate to unfold. The Aegis, our kingdom's protectorate, stands at the precipice of collapse unless we renew the pact with the Wardens of the Below Pact that would come with a price few imagined. Her words, carefully weighted, hung like a tapestry over our heads, a story that intertwined with each of our lives. The room was silent, save for the shuffling of robes and armor, as each representative absorbed the gravity of what was asked. As discussion unfolded, voices rose and fell, each speaking to the delicate balance struck between preservation and sacrifice. The young scribe from the eastern settlements, with a voice as tremulous as the parchment he held, spoke of the need for unity against the ancient terrors the cracks could unleash. The silver-haired knight commander, his gaze as sharp as his blade, urged caution and courage in the face of the inevitable. "We are bound by history," he declared. strength lacing every word. But we hold the reins of its future. It's our responsibility to determine who bears the burden and ensure the survival of our people. I watched as the words flowed like streams meeting at a confluence, debates turning into resolutions and fears morphing into determination. Eldoria was facing a crossroads, to uphold the foundations set by the ancestors, or to forge new pacts steeped in uncharted ethics. Mira, who had been silent, now raised her voice, her words concise and clear as a dawn call. "If the wardens ask for life, we must ensure that it is given freely and with informed consent," she said, calling for transparency and unity in decision-making. A murmur of agreement coursed through the chamber, her words framing a question as much about our identity as about the immediate dilemma. Understanding that each life was a story, and each story interwoven with our fate, we sought a path that honored both past and present. The choice each of us brought from those chamber depths would ripple across the fabric of our kingdom, the lives offered, the pact renewed or altered, the paths set anew. The fate of Eldoria hung in the balance of our resolve, resting on decisions made with forest-deep conviction and mountain-high clarity. In the days that followed, a council was formed to draft the renewed terms of the pact. Eldoria's leaders leaned into the wisdom of their people, gathering voices from the far reaches of the realm to weave a decision as strong as the stones beneath our feet. As the choices unfurled and the bargain struck, the distant tremors ceased, the heartbeat of the earth finding a new rhythm, echoing in the depths of both our lands and our souls. The wardens awaited our answer, a choice that would not only define the destiny of our kingdom, but sculpt the legacy for generations unborn, forged in the crucible of the present. Part treacherous choices, to preserve or perish. The coming days bore witness to the kingdom of Eldoria, standing upon the threshold of its destiny, each heartbeat of the land aligned with the resolve echoing within its people. From the glittering spires of the capital to the whispering pines of distant hamlets, the air hummed with the weight of Choye, a mosaic of hopes and fears, interspersed with the resonance of a history not yet written. Gathered once more within the grand chamber, the council faced the decision at hand, a decision that bore the echoes of our journey beneath and the insights of the voices forged in unity from the diverse reaches of the realm. We adventurers, those who had delved deep and unearthed the truth, now found ourselves part of a deciding body, an honor and burden delivered by fate's own hand. The drafts of the renewed pact lay before us, inscribed upon vellum, a testament to our commitment to protect the future while honoring the sacrifices of the past. Each clause was a careful balance, as delicate as the filament of magic itself, meticulously crafted to ensure fairness and clarity. The pact was shaped not by the grinding of stone alone, but by the gentle resolve of the heart and the shared wisdom of Eldoria's scholars and its people. Sir Heron, the stalwart knight of our party, rose first to speak, his countenance carved with a resolve as steadfast as the mountain ranges. "This pact reflects our dual nature," he declared, his voice steady and strong. "We are protectors and creators of our fate. It brings us to the brink of a new dawn where life and legacy entwine." His words struck a chord, a clarion call to the essence of what made us more than the sum of our history, a reminder that the choice to safeguard life extended beyond mere survival into the realm of living with honor and purpose. The wardens had tasked us with a burden not easily carried, a bargain steeped in the traditions of yore. As the debates unfolded, divergent views found common ground in a shared commitment to Eldoria and its people. From each corner of the kingdom, contributions flowed, a mother's plea, a soldier's duty, a farmer's insight, each voice intertwining to pave the path forward. Tyrion, whose magical prowess echoed with ancient reverence, offered a perspective forged in the arcane arts. "Magic is the vessel of our pact," he mused, "yet it is the heart of the people and the will of the living that must steer its course." Resonance rippled through the assembly, a potent acknowledgement that the pact's power was rooted not only in spells and runes, but equally in the spaces where everyday lives converged with the extraordinary tapestry of Eldoria. Mira, her gaze keen and unwavering, added dimension to this unfolding destiny by invoking the very land we walked upon. "Let us honor not just our lives," she urged, but the land well defend the fields, forests, and hills, all part of the Pact's heartbeat. Through insightful deliberations, we planned a path of shared sacrifice, a lottery of consent, where volunteers, aware and willing, would step forward, their vitality sustaining the Aegis as it was reknit through time's ancient loom. This way, the heritage of protection continued through a circle of life, equally shared and revered. The Council agreed upon the terms, a decision made not in haste or fear, but through courage and unity. With parchment clutched in hand, the commitment was sealed with the temperance of the heart and the strength of collective resolve. But as we prepared to journey once more to the Earth's embrace to bring forth our answer, there lingered a question upon the horizon. What ripples would this choice send forth, shaping the kingdom in unforeseeable ways? We were bound together by a choice that would echo through song and story, torches passed to those who followed long after our paths had ended. For better or for ill, we moved forward, ready to place the keystone upon the future's arch, guided by the collective heart of Eldoria. Part, Renewal and Ruin, the destiny of a kingdom. With the weight of our decision cradled tenderly in our hands, we returned to the chasm that had heralded the beginning of our extraordinary quest. The echoes of our footsteps reverberated through the ancient stone corridors, resounding with anticipation and the memories of our journey. The plan was set, the choice made, and now it was time to face the wardens once more, to seal the pact that would determine Eldoria's future. As we descended, the air thickened with the gravity of our approach. Each step seemed to draw us deeper into the fabric of the world's essence. Our torches burned brightly, casting shadows that danced upon walls laden with the runes of history. This time, the path did not feel as perilous, each of us bound by the certainty of purpose forged through the counsel of Eldoria's people. Upon reaching the vast chamber again, the wardens awaited a silent gathering of their timeless presence. Eyes glimmered under the softly glowing crystal formations that illuminated their solemn forms. They watched as we stepped forward, the parchment of our resolve held aloft like a beacon. High Scholar Eldoria, who had joined us to witness the fulfillment of the scholar's oath, addressed them with the tempered authority of her role. "We return with the consensus of Eldoria," she proclaimed, her voice a clear bell in the shadowed hall. "A renewal of the pact, built on the foundations of cooperation and understanding." The wardens listened, their expressions unreadable yet attentive, as Eldoria presented the terms. She spoke of the lottery of consent, of voluntary sacrifice from the people, offered with awareness in exchange for the continued protection of the realm. For every 10 cycles of the moon, families would present those willing to give a measure of their life essence, a gift to safeguard their kin and the lands. A silence followed her words, not born from disbelief, but rather a deep contemplation of the implications. The wardens conferred amongst themselves, a council of murmurs that trailed like whispers through the cavern air. When they turned back to us, their unified voice held within it the resonance of ages. "Your path is chosen with wisdom and courage," one warden spoke, each word carrying the weight of stone and secrets. "The pact is accepted, its lifeblood a testament of shared fate and destiny." As the words hung in the air, a surge of light filled the chamber. The magic of the Aegis awakened once more, intertwining with the vitality pledged by Eldoria's people. It thrummed like a heartbeat of renewal, cocooned within the chambers of the earth, spiraling upwards through rock and soil, until Eldoria felt its embrace. In that moment of rekindled power, I felt an overwhelming sense of connectivity, not only between us and the wardens, but with all those who had walked this path before, and all those who would follow. It was as if the land itself sighed with the relief of shared purpose, a recognition of its guardians and those they protected. In the quiet that ensued, the wardens offered one more blessing, a gift of foresight that would guide our kingdom in the shadows of the forthcoming ages. The crystals that lined the cavern walls shimmered brightly, casting reflections of potential futures and echoing with the promise of resilience. With the pact renewed, we returned to the surface, our hearts tremulous with victory and woven with resolve. It was the dawn of a new chapter, and as the sun emerged from beneath the horizon's embrace, it bathed Eldoria in warmth, the kingdom safe under the watchful care of its ancient protectors. Our journey had forged a new legacy, one not only of sacrifice, but of hope, unity, and the indomitable will of the people. By melding past and present, Eldoria now stepped boldly into the future, each soul a vital thread in the tapestry of destiny, a kingdom warded by life and love, poised between renewal and ruin forevermore.